Greetings, people. Ah! My apologies, that is the general emotion that comes to mind whenever I read anything to do with British politics these days. Now, I'm not as in tune with Britain's politics as I am with the Yanks, mainly because the Yanks are the clumsy oof and their foreign policy is essentially and smacking the world like it's a chessboard with an arm exclusively used for compulsive wanking. I sort of keep an eye on Liz Truss and what she's up to. I know the World Economic Forum alignment and all of that, though her undercutting tax rate proposal and desire to do away with the world standard did seem to piss them off, which is good. Anything that puts wrinkles on Penny Morton's face, you keep doing. The tax cut budget, I thought, brilliant! Finally, economic sense from a conservative government, because cutting taxes, oddly enough, is more popular with Labour voters than the Tory ones. Here's a litmus test for all of you. If you ever see any shit-headed politician use the phrase trickle down, they don't know the first thing about economics, you can ignore them. So if I see any Labour supporters or politicians barking at Truss's plan, I think you fucking got your asses handed to you in the last election because Corbyn's plans were spending upward of what, like 70 billion frickin' pounds? Now you're gonna hassle Truss for her wanting an environment more conducive to fostering a healthy private market? Why the hell would you listen to some schmuck Labour tough about economic issues? God only knows. I saw one schlep that said, oh, Labour is the party of fiscal responsibility. I nearly spat on my frickin' tea. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you gonna send more cash to Ukraine? Yes, then you aren't fucking fiscally responsible. Shut the fuck up. But this is the bloody problem with making people dependent on the state. Removing it becomes politically suicidal even as your economy is getting destroyed for its incompetent spending. If you want a growing economy, you need to reduce taxes. So for her to flip on her economic policy so soon, oh, for heaven's sake. Ben Chapman over GB News said it bluntly. Why, Liz, did you give in so soon to those who want to see you fail? It's been 27 days! And that is the problem with marching to the beat of the political class and the mainstream media who operate in the Westminster bubble and don't give a damn about the real problems facing ordinary Brits. Nothing gets done. You don't buckle under pressure. You don't follow mainstream orthodoxy. You tell these people to go screw themselves. This is why democracy and parliaments suck, because you can't make any necessary fixes that are politically unpopular because power-hungry fucking psychos will circle you if you so much as damn try. Then I see the polls, and Labour has this overwhelming lead. Now, I do not know what in the name of all that is fucking holy is going on behind the scenes with the MPs. I don't know if it is because of this polling or because they're nefarious or stupid or both. But for some reason, the MPs are desperately trying to get rid of Truss and reinstall Boris. Why? I do not fucking know. For my scouring the internet, which is the best I can do given the circumstances, it's a little too early to get rid of Truss. But the overwhelming consensus seems to be, do not bring back Boris. If you do, you are going to get killed in a general election. Boris proved himself to be a spineless cuck. I mean, many people seem to think it's because of the green bitch he has on his arm, but that's a different story. Now, to bring it back to the polling, I do not know how the fuck those polls make any sense. I seem to recall Labour getting curb-stomped into oblivion the last round because they were overwhelmingly too left and insane. The Tories, and the previous variety especially, are not fucking conservative, which is why they are losing. They are too much like Labour. The Tories got their massive majorities by running as far as they could manage away from Labour policies. So how and where the hell Labour is getting support from when the current party in power is losing support for not being conservative enough? Just what in the... Am I missing something here? It seems to me, and I could be wrong here, but Britain's government suffers from the typical democratic trick, which is Party A and Party B, red and blue. But this is window dressing. Behind the scenes, they go, hey, look, we're all of the same mind here, right? So, we're going to keep marching in one direction. Us in third gear, you in fifth. And as long as you are more batshit crazy than we are, we can keep marching in the same direction in perpetuity and loot the country dry because who gives a fuck what the hell the people want? This is how Britain is run. From the outside, it looks like the MPs have an unholy disproportionate amount of influence and power over number 10. The Prime Minister needs far more power, an iron fist to say to the MPs, either you follow my agenda or I'll fucking end you. That is the kind of backbone you need from a leader. Because I'll be honest, I don't believe the polls. The overwhelming issue for the English people has been the same for over a decade now. Put a fucking stop to mass migration. If Liz Truss came out tomorrow and said, I've had a word with my cabinet, we've been working on a deportation scheme that starts tomorrow. We've been working on strengthening the Royal Navy. We're going to deploy them to help patrol our waters. We've heard the wants of the British people, and we are determined to do something about this because this is ridiculous. If she did that, her popularity would be through the damn roof. If she could pull that off, stick to it, she would become the most popular prime minister since Winston Churchill. Easily. Easily. But a few days ago, I was watching an interview with Brendan O'Neill from Spiked, and he had on Mencius Moldbug, which in itself is a very unusual ordeal. An American who's in favor of the monarchy versus an Englishman who's democratic. Very strange indeed. But the topic of Brexit came up. Now, Moldbug is not a man of conventional wisdom. His thinking is very much outside the Western sphere, which is what makes him such an intriguing enigma. It's also what makes people incapable of thinking outside of that sphere think he's completely insane and off his rocker. I don't think so, but then again, I'm a very unusual bloke myself. But Moldbug described Brexit as a political shit show. That was pretty much symbolic only, but whenever Brendan brought up counterpoints, they were orientated in perception rather than policy, so Moldbug had the upper hand. He was not against Brexit as a concept, he was against its execution as it happened to play out. His idea of Brexit is to dissolve the EU entirely and then bulldoze the buildings, literally destroy any structures associated with it. 100% clean regime change, and then return Britain to Queen Elizabeth I's type of state. So a return to an absolute monarchical state and the restoration of the British Empire. That's his idea of a Brexit, which the monarchist in me finds pretty base. But he had a very interesting perspective on post-Brexit Britain. That the British people had no idea what on earth they were actually voting for. He had an interesting analogy for it. That the British people essentially untied the boat from the harbour and then told the government to set sail, but had no idea where to go beyond untying it from the harbour. It had no course. So post-Brexit Britain is this rudderless vessel with no direction and doesn't really know what to do. If you ask regular people, for example, what's the Northern Ireland Protocol, the World Trade Agreement, the Customs Union, the Single Market? Most people would have no idea what the hell any of that even means. So if your citizenry don't have any plotted course, how on earth do you expect the parliamentary apparatus to move and where to? I'll link it in the description below. Do give it a listen. It's always good to hear from people like him who see the world in a very, very different way. And that's all for today, and I will see you all next time.